So recently I bought this iPod Nano so that I could have a dedicated place for storing and listening to my music. And with it came a variety of different aftermarket accessories. Now the seller did tell me that these were aftermarket, so I'm okay with that. And I wanted to use this as a time or a chance to show you what aftermarket Apple products look like. And honestly, I do not recommend purchasing them because you don't know the quality of the product. You don't know if they'll work as well as the originals. And I'll say at least one of these doesn't work the way that they're supposed to. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll start by showing you the charger here. Now the charger at first glance looks like an original Apple charger. They do a pretty good job in making it look close, but once you look closer, you start to see all of the inconsistencies and start seeing how bad it really is. Now at first glance it may look rather convincing, but once you look on the inside and look at all the little details, you start to realize how bad this copy really is. Now you read the inside, it says for use with information technology equipment made in China, and some information about the voltage, the model number. I think it's A1365 or A1265. I'll bring in an original Apple charger so you can see what that looks like. And right away you can tell the difference in quality. You can tell this one's a lot better made because you can tell the sound quality is different when you drop them, because this one's a lot heavier, this one's a lot more hollow. It feels a lot more hollow, if that makes any sense. And you can see there the Apple one does say designed by Apple in California, and several other information blurbs, but I can't really read that because it's really light gray against the already gray background. And I guess they do that so that from a distance it looks nicer and it's a lot more clean. Now if you do look at the plugs there, the little prongs, you can actually tell there's a color difference between the fake one and the real ones. Now you tell me which one you want charging your phone. These half poorly made prongs, not even straight or symmetrical to the other one, or these that are nice, have nice drilled holes, nicely made. But I would honestly not trust these because the fake one is a lot more hollow than the real one. That means that it's probably missing some protection, like circuit protection, so that it doesn't backfire, or not backfire, but like blow up on you. And it protects charge protections for your device and whatnot. That one probably doesn't have any of that. And the next thing we're going to take a look at are the headphones. And the case is absolutely horrible. I think I've had one box of these in the past and it wasn't this bad. It is just horrible. You can see all the mold marks and the edges are really bad. It looks like really thin plastic, like a bad mold. You can see the mold marks there. I know Apple wouldn't produce, let alone let their customers handle something this and poor in quality, but I mean, it's just a case. You're gonna end up throwing this away anyway. What do the headphones look like? Oh, they're just as bad as the case they came in. You can see all the mold marks there. That looks uncomfortable, and let me get closer in here so we can see this a little better. Yeah, that looks really uncomfortable. You can see all the mold marks. The only hole for ventilation would be that. Well, not really ventilation, it's just acoustics. And it only has that one. You can see that down there. That's just a little divot there. It's not really a hole. And I do have a pair of original ones. I try to keep this as close as possible. So I found an old pair of 3.5mm headphones we can compare these to. And yeah, these are a little beat up and discolored because they are, of course, old. But they're not as bad. Now, these are the remotes. They're pretty darn close, but once you hear them, you'll tell which one's real and which one's not. Probably can't hear that. Yeah, you can tell these are fake, which is fine. They did say they were fake. And the barrel plugs down here, the 3.5mm, you don't see these anymore, do you? Now I do have to say these are the real ones on the right there. They are a little more faded because they are older. But other than that, they're pretty close. If you buy aftermarket Apple headphones like these, they're not going to be any good, and these aren't any good. They sound like you're listening to your music out of a tin can, and only one of them works. The other one, you can barely hear anything out of it, so it's absolutely horrible. This is the charge cable, the charge and sync cable. At first glance, it looks pretty convincing that it's real. but it's really not. I have the real one right here, and right away you're going to tell which one's real and which one's not. Yeah, this one's a lot thicker than the fake one, the aftermarket, and we're going to take a look at the barrel plugs so that you can really see a difference in quality there. You can see the molding is coming off there. The contacts are different in color. The Apple ones are gold. These are more silver, if anything there. And then you take a look at them from the top. The Apple ones are more oval. The plug itself is more oval, and the plug over here is more flat top and bottom. Not that it's going to affect anything, but they're just little hallmarks you should look out for when buying these. You never know, you might buy something original and you end up getting something like this, and it's what the kids call catfishing. You might get catfished into buying something fake. And this is the USB charger, or the USB port. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I see a color difference in between this one and this one. This one's a lot more silver. You look at the screen printing on the USB logo, it's a lot nicer on the one on the left. And if you guess the one on the left is the real one, you are correct. The one on the right, you can tell it looks a little cheap. I think molding is about the same. And that's what the plug looks like. It's a lot whiter on this one, like a more creamy white. This is like pure white on the right there, and that's what that looks like. And just to show you the thickness difference up close, yeah. Now the reason why these cables are thicker than the aftermarket may be because there's a lot more cabling inside, or the shielding is just the shielding is thicker, which allows for protection from interference. Whether you plug it in, you get electrical interference, or you plug it into your computer and you just get more interference from your computer, because I know that to happen. Now, the problem with these aftermarket cables is that they don't always produce the amp rating that they're supposed to. Now, I don't have an amp meter test it with, but I know there's YouTubers out there that have tested out the amp ratings that they get from these cables, and they're a lot less than the original ones, so you're not going to charge your device as quickly with these cables than with an original one. So if you can, buy original. If you can't, at least buy aftermarket that has the made for iPhone designation, because that means Apple has allowed that company to produce the cables. I know Amazon Prime or Amazon Basics has their aftermarket cables, and they are pretty good quality, and they are made for iPhone. So if you're looking for something cheap that'll work, maybe Amazon Basics is the thing for you. As for headphones, well, there's a slew of different brands out there that you want to try, but just stay away from aftermarket earpods or AirPods because they're absolutely horrible. Now, if you have a story to tell with these aftermarket parts and you wish to share, go ahead and leave it down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear the stories that you guys have. Honestly, I don't have any because I try to stay away from them, but if you wish to share or care to share, go ahead and leave it down in the comments and I'll read them. And with that being said, thank you all for watching, and see you all in the next video.